and thank you for joining us today. Today, I am with Representative Takayama, and my name is Tiffany Liu, and I am from James Campbell High School, located in the heart of Emerald Beach, Hawaii. Representative Takayama, I am so honored to be able to talk to you here today about the legislative midterms.
Well, I'm happy to have the chance to talk to you, Tiffany. I'm always really happy to talk to our students because, to me, you folks always have the best questions, and I always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you. Same here. And actually, before we begin, could you please share a bit about the communities in your district?
Oh, sure. I represent in the State House District 34, which comprises most of Pearl City, some of Waimalu, some of Pacific Palisades. It's a community that has a lot of residents who've lived there for one or two generations. And so it's not unusual to see many families that have grandparents living with their children and their grandchildren all in one family. It's a nice community because it's close to town, and we have terrific schools. I'm very proud of them. And it's a really closely knit community, which I'm very proud of contributing to.
That's amazing. It's amazing to hear how great and astounding the community that you reside in. And when you were talking about your community being close-knitted, that definitely also reminds me of my community as well as a beach. And the good thing about our communities in Hawaii is that we all contain this aspect that makes Hawaii, Hawaii, basically, because our island is definitely a really unique place to live in. And it's because of all these people and residents that really make Hawaii shine in comparison to the rest of
it. Oh, no, I totally agree. I think maybe the only difference between Ewa Beach and Pearl City is you have a beach in your community. We don't have a beach, but we have a lot of parks, public parks, and lots of large yards and space for our kids and students to play in. And so, yeah, I agree. I think our communities are a lot alike.
Yep, that's amazing to hear. And talking about communities and Hawaii, do you mind sharing your vision for Hawaii?
Well, you know, one of the reasons I ran for elected office 8 years ago is because I thought I could contribute to making Hawaii a better place for our young people to live. And by that, I mean a place that has job opportunities, career opportunities, and as well as places where students can grow and learn in their college and universities of their choice. It's easier said than done because, you know, the cost of living is so high here in Hawaii, but we need to do a better job in the legislature of creating higher end job opportunities for our kids so they can afford to live here with their families, buy a house and have children here, instead of having to move to the mainland to be able to afford a house.
That's totally true. And being part of the youth and being part of the future generation, I can definitely relate to how you said about the rising cost of living for our youth and for our keiki. And if you don't mind, can you also elaborate on the passions that you may have?
The passions I have. I think people who are in the legislature, their passions come from their own personal lives, our own families. For example, I have two daughters who went away to college on the mainland, both of them in Oregon. Only one of them came back, partly because of what we were saying earlier about the cost of living being high. So the one who went to Pacific University in Oregon became a social worker, fell in love, married someone there. And so, you know, she is enjoying herself. She's a social worker who works with homeless veterans. And as much as we'd like to have her come back, we all know that she wouldn't be able to afford a house like she is able to afford a house in Oregon. My other daughter did come back. She went to law school here and is working as an attorney at the public defender's office. So when we talk about individual passions, I think it stems from my own desire to make this a place where all of our children can come back to live, like I said earlier, where everyone can find a place to live that's affordable, find jobs that are meaningful, and pay well enough for them to be able to survive here in Hawaii.
That's really inspirational, considering that I'm also part of the youth, and lots of our viewers actually today are keiki, and it's really reassuring that there is someone out there like such as you who is actually fighting for a future, making Hawaii a better place to work, live, play, and to actually come back to as well. So basically our home. And is there a particular experience that maybe ignited the passion of yours?
Well, that's an interesting question. I come from a communications background. In other words, I worked as a journalist, both in the print media at a newspaper and also on TV for a while. And so to me, communications is really vitally important. And I'm not sure what you plan to study when you go to college, but to me, communications is one area that is open to terrific opportunities, either in terms of journalism, like I did, or in terms of the law, career in law, and communications, also involves things like the teaching profession. It was once said that every great communicator, let me rephrase myself. Every great communicator has the ability to use his or her 2 ears and 1 mouth in that proportion. In other words, a great communicator is a good listener. And I know you are, just by talking to you briefly. And so to me, if there was one field I could urge our young people to emphasize, and that's the field of communications, because it opens, like I said, fields of teaching, law, all kinds of different things that they can take advantage of.
Thank you. Thank you for your compliment. I also know that you are an amazing listener as well and communicator. And yes, and like you said, communication is definitely a key aspect in our daily lives, because if you think about it, everyone uses communication nowadays. Like, communication is a vital aspect to ensure the success for not only our keiki, but for individuals as well. So communication is definitely really important, like what you said. And finally, is there a piece of advice that you could give our keiki?
Well, my advice would be to be open to new experiences and don't be afraid of challenges. I think we all, when we leave our families to go out and experience the world as teenagers or as young adults, there are adventures ahead of us. And many of them are challenges that we may not be prepared for. But my advice is to not back down, because I lived on the mainland for a number of years, and if it's one thing I know, it's that our local young people sometimes don't think of themselves as highly as they should. My experience has been that our young people can compete with young people anywhere, California, Oregon, Washington, D.C., and that they shouldn't be afraid of any challenge ahead of them, because I know that our young people can and always have the ability to excel in whatever field they choose.
Thank you for that piece of advice. That is definitely really reassuring to all the keiki and to all the youth who are watching us today, and especially me, since I am currently a junior and I am currently applying for colleges and in island and out of island as well. And like what you mentioned about challenges, today is a challenge because we are doing this virtually, and we are actually overcoming obstacles and overcoming these challenges by actually speaking like right now. So thank you again. And also thank you for your time and efforts today, Representative Takayama. And I hope to see more of your accomplishments in the future.
Thank you. If I have one wish, it's that if you go to college in California, that you come back one day, and all of Hawaii will benefit from that, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I will definitely come back. Don't worry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My name is Tiffany Leo, and I am with Youth Capital Commentary.